Howdy and welcome back to the channel. I'm Country Boy and I put the sass in sarsaparilla. And it came. It finally came! I feel like Sid from Toy Story when he gets his big rocket, right?
It came! It finally came! The big one.
Oh man, this is the figure I've been wanting ever since I started collecting the Spider-Man retro figures from 1994 TV show. Oh, I'll just go to it right now. It's Doc Ock. It's Doc Ock, and it's got bendy wires. Oh my goodness, the tentacles, and I shouldn't forget, Aunt May is also in here too, and she looks like a wonderful figure. I'm happy to have her as well too. But Doc Ock, my goodness, this is the Doc Ock that I remember from the cartoon too. Like, he's not the big chubby Doc Ock that's more from the comic books and from most iterations that you see him. This is the more muscular Doc Ock that, like I said, I remember from the '94 TV show. And like I said, he's also got the bendy wired tentacles. So I can't wait to figure out how that works, if everything is all hunky-dory and everything works good. And, Aunt May, she looks like Aunt May did in the cartoon, as far as I can tell. But, before I start talking about the figures themselves, I suppose we should just look at the packaging. So let's do that right now. Let's look at the packaging. Oh man, this artwork is bringing me back to the 90s, back to one of my favorite shows of all time. Well, at least from when I was a kid anyways. If it wasn't for this show, I probably wouldn't be the Spider-Man fan that I am today. And it definitely harkens back to the way that things looked back in the 90s. This is how I remember Doc Ock looking back in 1994 and on when the series continued. And Aunt May as well too. This is totally what I picture when I think of them back in their cartoon form. So let's take a look at the packaging here. It says Doc Ock and Aunt May down there, which is, if you didn't know this, I know in the comics, not that I read the comics very much, but I know in the comics that they dated, they almost got married, I believe. I don't think they ever did get married. So it kind of fits that these would be in a 2-pack. So that's kind of cool. I like that they did that. So also more of the artwork, Spider-Man, obviously the classic logo, 4+, Marvel Comics, the classic Marvel logo that it says up there, and then you can see obviously Doc Ock in all his glory with his bowl cut haircut there, and Aunt May with her blonde hair. And then on the side, pretty similar. It's just it's the same artwork, just in different form. So not much more on the side. On the back here, you actually see images of the figures. I believe these are just renderings of the figures. I don't think they're the actual figures themselves, but this is basically what you're going to be getting, and it doesn't say any extra accessories or anything like that. So I think this is just basically what you get. Is you get the 2 figures. And then on the side, makes it look like the old VHS style things that they've been doing. They've been doing this before. I got this with the Carnage and the Black Suit Spider-Man. And I know that they do this with the X-Men series as well, too. It's kind of cool. It definitely makes you feel like the 90s again. And then there you go, back to the front again. Let's look at the bottom. Some extra stuff at the bottom. You can go ahead and pause and read that if you want to. There's a bunch of stuff there. And then on the top, just the old Spider-Man logo from the 1994 series. So I guess there's nothing left to do but to get into the packaging.
Aunt May.
Oh, Peter, I've been so worried.
The doctor says I had a virus.
Don't worry, ma'am. With Dr. Octavius, your nephew's in the very best of hands.
Yeah, all 6 of them.
I do not want you to worry anymore. I will call a cab to take you home. Leave him to us, and he will be fine.
Don't worry, Aunt May. Just go home.
I can't. Not without doing this first. Stay healthy.
I'll do my best.
And here is Aunt May out of the packaging. We'll start with her first, and we'll save Doc Ock for last because I know he's the big one that people are gonna want to see. But for accessories, she doesn't really come with accessories. She just comes with 2 extra hands, which are these fisted hands. So if you want your Aunt May to duke it out and take on the bad guys herself, she can totally do that. She's ready to do it. Kind of like Aunt May did in the Spider-Man 2 movie with Doc Ock when she clocked him with her umbrella. That's something they could have done. They could have added some accessories like an umbrella for her, or even a purse or something. They could have added just a little bit more just to give her a little bit more of a character. But they didn't, so whatever. That's fine. But let's look at the figure now. She's definitely got that Aunt May look. She's got the old, feeble woman. She's seen some things. She looks like she's a little bit afraid with her facial expression there. But she's got some concern, is what it looks like. Maybe she knows that Spider-Man is her is her nephew, you know. So maybe that's what she's got going on in her mind. She's worried for him. But like you see in the cartoon, she's got the blonde hair going on, and it's got, I think, a bit of a dark wash in there too. So it's not just one tone, which is nice. And they actually did a good job of the face. I don't know how well she's coming off there, but she's got like wrinkles and a lot more detail than you might expect just looking at the artwork on the box. I'm liking the way she looks. Got those blue eyes. Yeah, she's got her blouse going on, got the blue jacket. I believe this is basically what she wore in the show. I gotta remember, I gotta go back to some of the images and some of the video and see that if this is exactly what she wore. But from what I remember, I think this is what she wore. Let's look at some of the articulation that she has. She's got, her neck can only go back this far because her hair does get in the way, it kind of blocks her neck. And her neck doesn't move itself. It doesn't look like it doesn't have a movement there, but actually there, that's as far back as her neck goes. And then it goes forward that far. I don't think it has a dumbbell movement. It kind of seems like it kind of does a little bit. So and then you can also turn it all the way around 360 degrees, and you can tilt it left and right, whichever way you need to go. Arms go up quite a ways actually. They got really good movement. They go that way, and they obviously rotate all the way around like most arms do. And then you got pretty good rotation of the elbow too. They've got a single joint, but they do move good that ways. And then they also move a little like hyperextend the other way. So that's a little awkward there, but it works. And then her her wrists, they go all the way around, and then they do have a bit of a hinge as well too, so they can go forward and back if you need to. There's not much that you can do with the body because she's one kind of big piece with this blouse going on, so she's not going to be able to bend over or do any jumping poses or anything like that. And it does hinder her movements down here because right where her knees are, that's kind of where the blouse ends. So that's going to also like hinder her bending the knees. So it is a single jointed knee, I believe. I can't even tell with inside there, but even if it wasn't single jointed, it only goes up about that far that I can tell. And then her feet, there's some hindrance because of the shoe, so they only go back about that far, but they go up about that far. So decent. It's okay. You're not buying an old lady for her articulation. You're buying her to sit on your shelf and to look like Aunt May does from the TV show. Somewhat, anyways. You know, maybe not perfect, but as good as you're gonna get. This is, I don't know if there's any other Aunt May figures that have even been made out there. So this might be the first chance you ever get to getting one. And you know what? I'm really happy with her. She looks really cool. I'm looking forward to putting her on my shelf and putting her with all the other characters that I got. But like I said, this isn't the one that we bought the box for. We're gonna be taking a look at the big guy. So stay tuned for that next. Here we go.
How does it feel to know that you could change things, Spider-Man, but be helpless to do so?
About as bad as I'd feel if I had a name like Doc Ock. An electromagnet. If I can just find the controls.
Let me give you a few last thoughts to contemplate before I put an end to your puny...
I really hate to interrupt a megalomaniac when he's on a roll, but here's web in your eyes.
And here is the big guy himself, Doc Ock, looking menacing as ever. Man, I actually really like the way this guy looks. I'll get to the figure in a second. I'll show you some of the accessories first, which is basically his fists. He's got hands right there, and then he's got these hands here, so fists. So he can punch Spider-Man if he needs to. He gets him in his grips with his tentacles, and then he can throw some fists at him as well too. So that's really the only other accessories other than his tentacles, which really don't count as accessories because he's Doc Ock. He's got to have them with him at all times. But what I did like about these tentacles is there's two different types. So there's one end has the open tentacle, so it's like going out to grab, and then the other one is like this, where it's kind of closed, like it's already pinched something. So you got two of these of each, and I haven't put them on just yet. I will put them on. I haven't fiddled around with it just yet. I just wanted to give you a good look at Doc Ock without the tentacles, so you can see what we're dealing with. And then I'll play around and put the tentacles on, and then you can see what it looks like there. So this is Doc Ock, obviously, like I said, without the tentacles. I love his sunglasses. Those are some pretty sweet shades. It definitely reminds me of like Bret the Hitman Hart with his shades. You can just hear the music right now. That looks really awesome. And the stupid bowl cut that he has, just classic Doc Ock, looks awesome. I love that menacing look that he's got there. He looks pissed off, like he's gonna do some damage. And he's got his muscles. This guy's built. And also, what I just realized is he's pinless. You know, he's got the new look that they're doing with Hasbro here. They don't have to have the pins all over the place. Aunt May still had some pins, but this guy does not. He looks awesome. I love the greens and the yellows, bits of orange as well too. You know, this looks really cool. I'll show you some of the articulation while we're at it. His head goes back about yay far and goes forward about that far. Well, his neck also moves forward too, so you get a little bit more movement that way. So he's got neck and head movement. And then his arms go up about that far because he does have these shoulder pads here, shoulder pauldrons, what have you. They go up that far. And then, again, they can rotate everything around and if you need to. And then you got double jointed elbows, so he can grab himself a drink and put it to his mouth if he needs to. And then you got the wrist movement right there, and you've also got the forward and back movement, which is actually a little bit different. It's side movement. It's not forward and back. It's side movement. Okay, a little bit different. And then let's do kind of waist. He's got waist movement. Yeah, you can do a good waist swivel as well too. So there's no like ab crunch or anything. It's just the waist swivel or diaphragm cut, if that's what it's called, I believe. Then the legs. Let's see. You can do the legs go out. Oh, quite a ways actually. Not too bad. Pretty good splits. And they go back that far. They go forward all the way. And then they got the double jointed knees as well. So he can basically almost kick his own butt. If it wasn't for the cuffs on the boots, then he could probably be able to do that. That's as far back as his knee seems to be able to go. Pretty good movement though. And then his foot goes down. Oh, ballerina pose. Look at that. Beautiful. And then up. Pretty good too. That's pretty decent. Like he's ski jumping. Looks good. He's got really good articulation from what I can tell. And honestly, I'm really liking the detail. This guy looks freaking awesome. It definitely reminds me of the old classic cartoon. So if you wanted to see how these fit in here, this is his backpack sort of thing that he has on his back. And they slot in there. Each one's going to slot in. I don't know if they're specific to which one goes where. I'll have to figure that out. But stay tuned and I'll get you seeing how Doc Ock looks with his tentacles in a short minute. All right, so we got the tentacles onto Doc Ock and he looks awesome. Honestly, I am really happy with the way this turned out. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I was a little worried. I had seen a review or two where guys were saying that it was really hard to get the tentacles in and they weren't staying in. I had absolutely no problem. It took a little bit of force to shove them in there, but they did click in. And once I did, I was able to maneuver them around and put them kind of the way I wanted to. The only thing is, with all of this weight, all these tentacles, you do have to do a bit of a balancing act with Doc Ock. He isn't going to stand up very easily on his own. So So when I do pose him, eventually I might use the tentacles as a way to like brace him to keep him up, because that's also one of his poses that you usually see Doc Ock with his tentacles down, holding himself up in the air. I don't know if they'll have the strength to hold him in the air. Like he almost fell over right there. So obviously he's gonna be having a hard time just standing on his own. But he looks so cool. I will have to figure something out to make him stand. I could even get like a little stand if I need to make him stand better. Like he does have peg holes too, so I could always buy a peg stand to make him stand better. But we'll see. I'll play around with him. But man, oh, this guy looks really freaking cool. And like I said, these are the bendable wires. So look at that, boom, quick bend, easy. Whatever way you want to go, totally do that. Just freaking sweet. This is exactly what I've wanted. Like I said, since I started collecting this line, and it does not disappoint. I'm very happy with how this guy looks. Man, this is probably my favorite of the figures that I have in this Spider-Man retro line. Yeah, that's just so cool. So stay tuned. I'm gonna do a little bit of comparing with some of the figures in this line as well, and you can tell me if you think that he fits in. Stay tuned. Alrighty, so we're gonna do a little bit of comparing here with some other Spider-Man retro figures from the Marvel Legends line. We'll see how they fare. If they should be different, if they should be more cel-shaded or maybe less cel-shaded, we'll see. So starting off, we'll do the cel-shaded Spider-Man that I have, which was I think it was a Walmart exclusive for a while there. I'm not too sure if it still is. You might be able to get it on Big Bad Toy Store or something like that. I'm not too sure. But I think he does fare well. He's obviously bigger than Aunt May, which is normal for Spider-Man. He's a little bit bigger than Aunt May, and he's not as tall as Doc Ock, which I do like. So I think it's a good size comparison. This is a good Spider-Man to have. And then I will also do another Spider-Man, which is the more recent one that I opened up, which is the black suit Spider-Man with the Carnage 2-pack. And he is a bit taller. He might, honestly, he might be a little too tall. He might even be taller than Doc Ock, or at least he's about the same size, which is, I don't care for that as much. I'd prefer him to be a little bit smaller. Obviously, it's okay if he's taller than Aunt May, but to be taller than Doc Ock, let's take a look here. Let's see if he's taller. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, he's similar height. I'll say they're about the same, actually. So, yeah, I wish he was a little bit shorter. He does look cool. He's got the cool cell shading going on, but, he should be a little bit smaller. And for a couple more other comparisons, I figured I'd bring in another doctor, Dr. Kurt Connors, or the Lizard, if you will, in this form. And he's obviously a lot smaller. I got him hunched over sort of thing, so he's not too tall, he's not too small. I think they maybe could have done this figure a little bit bigger than he is here, but I don't hate it. I do like the way he looks. They did a good job of this figure, and I think he works really well with Doc Ock. And I think he looks pretty good with Aunt May too. If I had him standing straight up, he would still be towering over Aunt May, which would be a pretty cool thing. And then for the last comparison I will do is a big chonky boy. So he's obviously going to be the biggest one here. I got the Rhino. And this figure, I really love this figure. He's one of my favorites because he's just a big, thick, chonky boy, and he looks like he should. The Rhino should, but probably more evocative of the actual comic book than the TV show. But doesn't matter. This guy looks really cool, and I think he works really well together. One thing I should do with my display is kind of have like a Sinister Six thing going on. That would be awesome. Have like Doc Ock leading the Sinister Six, and then have a whole bunch of other bad guys with him. I would love to do that. So what do you guys think? Leave some comments down below if you can, or like, subscribe. I am Crunchyboy9 with an underscore in there somewheres. Go ahead and check me out. I got other things that I do with my friends called Wasted Opinions. Those guys are awesome. Those are some pretty cool videos. Check them out. Give them a like and subscribe as well too. So that's really going to do it for this episode, guys. I honestly can't wait to play with Doc Ock a little bit more. There is so much more posing that I want to do with this guy. I'm sure that I can maybe even have him holding Aunt May in the air or something like that with his tentacles, or like have him braced up with his 4 tentacles. Like I can't wait to play with him some more. So he's gonna take a lot more time just playing around with him. I can't wait to play with him. So that's gonna do it. We'll see you guys later, and until next time, thwip thwip and away. And don't forget to check me out on Twitter, PSN, Twitch, and YouTube at Countryboy9. That's with an underscore. Thanks for watching.